Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Federico Talks Watches. Today, I want to share with you 3 watches that I think have bottomed out in today's market and that are good buys. Now, of course, to avoid any kind of conflict of interest, these are not watches I currently have for sale. But of course, before we get started, customary wristwatch check. Today I'm wearing my Girard-Perregaux Laureato Evo 3 Moon Phase with the white dial. Hasn't been worn as much as I'd like recently. It just came back from service and I had it polished, and I don't know, I've been trying to avoid getting it scratched up, but it's time to wear this bad boy again. And also, guys, don't forget to check out DelReyWatch.com. We got a bunch of new inventory in stock, including a new generation Rolex Submariner 126610, cheapest one in this condition in the country. We also got in the Tudor FXD Pelagos, very much loved, a great new release from Tudor, and of course, the least expensive one in the country. And don't forget to check out the brand gear section at the top of our website if you guys want to pick up things such as Rolex caps, Parmigiani pens, Audemars Piguet keychains. We got a bunch of new stuff there as well, and it is all genuine and from the brands. Anyway, if you want to check that out, check out DelReyWatch.com, the best place for a watch geek to buy a watch. Link in the description below. So anyway, guys, I wanted to preface this discussion by saying the watch market is in a correction. Once again, not a crash, a correction. It's something that I and a lot of other watch dealers predicted. You know, things are kind of leveling out, and a lot of especially the hype models, are crashing down to earth. That being said, I think a lot of watch models will become cheaper in the following months, but I came up with a list of 3 models that I've been looked at, and I'm pretty sure they're bottomed out. A great time to buy these watches, in my opinion. And of course, as I said at the beginning of the video, to avoid any conflict of interest, these are not watches currently in stock at DelReyWatch.com, though there are a lot more than these 3 that have bottomed out. So right now is not an awful time to buy a watch. The market has heavily corrected, but I think we'll see more of it coming up. But in no particular order, I'm going to start off with mentioning the previous generation Vashon Conant Overseas. These used to be just under $20,000 at the kind of height of the hype. And now you can pick them up, you know, particularly the black dial, around $12,000. And actually a good friend of mine just picked one up for under $10,000 from a store that was running a promotion. So this is definitely bottomed out. I think they represent fantastic value for money, and I don't see them really falling any lower than they are now. I mean, this is basically pre-COVID levels, and definitely a correction of, you know, almost 40%. I mean, I don't know. I see the Vashon Conant Overseas, the previous generation, as a fantastic buy. Another one, a more stable one, but one that I think is a buy right now, is the 36mm Rolex Explorer, the older version, the 114270. These used to trade in the high 6s at the height of the hype, maybe even in the low 7s, and now you can get them for around $5,000, even lower. These are discontinued, so they're not making any more of them. Yes, Rolex just released a 36mm updated Explorer, but they're not the same thing. The geometry of the case is different, the bracelet's different. This is not a very big correction, but it never skyrocketed in the first place. But being a core collection of one of the watch industry's, or the watch industry's most prominent brand, it's a pretty safe bet. It wasn't going to move a ton anyway, and it was never a hype piece. But I just don't see Rolex sports models, even a 36mm Explorer, falling much under its current level of about $5,000, even a little lower. I think it's the entry level into modern Rolex. And as I said, I think it's very, very stable. And not to mention, at the current prices, I've actually sold a bunch of them within days of listing. So I think buyers are hot at the current price. I think the current price makes a lot of sense. And even though it's fallen just under 20%, that is a ton in general. Maybe not as much as the overseas, but is a ton in general. And Rolex is a more stable brand to begin with. But I think right now, 114270s are an absolute buy. And now is a watch that I own. It's not for sale, but I own it. And we're going to talk about the Moser Pioneer. At the height of the hype, they were about $14,000, even a little more. And now you can find the red models for a touch under 10 if you really look. And the green models, which is the one I own, for the mid-10s, and you can probably even get a little lower than that if you offer a wire transfer. Moser is a brand that's blown up in popularity, particularly with the Streamliner, which was sold out everywhere. Their Pioneer was their first foray into sports watches. It's one of the most popular models. Moser is a very small production of watches. I don't know exactly how many, but certainly producing a mere fraction of what VC or Vashon Conant produces. So these watches are never going to be super easily available or easy to get, because they don't make that many. This is a small, independent, super high-end manufacturer. And when I see the current watches at under $10,000, it screams buy all day long. Now, yes, 8 years ago, you could pick up a gold Moser for about $6,000, but those days are over. Moser's cleaned up their distribution. They've gotten popular. People know what it is now, right? So those days, if you're waiting for those days, they'll never be back. But right now, to me, a Pioneer for about $10,000 is killer. It's a killer deal. I mean, I paid more than that for mine, to be honest with you guys. So I just don't know how these aren't going to get snapped up all day long. If you guys are in the market for a Moser Pioneer, I think now is a fantastic time to grab one. Yeah, the red is a little cheaper than the green, but the green is more desirable, obviously. It just makes a lot of sense. And there's more models than this, to be honest with you. I've noticed a little bit in Breitling Navitimers and Breitling B01 Chronomats. I've noticed it in entry-level automatic or manual, mechanical rather, Journe. Forget the quartz elegant. But these three that I mentioned, the Vashon Conant previous generation overseas, the 36mm Rolex 114270, and the Moser Pioneer, they make a lot of sense to me right now. And while I'm not an economist, and I certainly do get things wrong, I've sold thousands of watches, maybe tens of thousands in my entire career, or definitely tens of thousands in my entire career. And these prices are definitely a buy. If you guys are looking for them. Anyway, guys, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Really does help. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any more content. And of course, I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.